Well, hello, all my leather boot fanatics and free-heeling friends. Well, as promised in last week's video, I'm going to show you today how I went about modifying a set of hardwires for use with my S-bound 98s, which has just Voile's simple 3-pin cable binding. Just like last week, the modifications that I've made to these hardwires are modifications that I've taken at my own risk. And if you decide to follow my path, then you're going to be taking them at your own risk. Well, now that we've kicked the lawyers out of the room, I just want to say that I'm real happy with the modifications that I've made. And it suits me just well because most of the time the hardwires are going to be in my pack. And I'm only going to put them on once in a while. So let's head back to the old shop and I'll show you how I accomplish this task. The binding on the left is Voile's 3-pin cable binding. The one on the right is Voile's Hardwire 3-pin binding. Voile sells the hardwire components as spare parts on their website. The total cost was $110 US. Now you just can't buy the hardwire parts and use them with Voile's 3-pin cable bindings. The attachment point on their cable bindings was designed for a flat steel hook, and the hardwire's hooks are a round steel that is just a bit too thick. The hook profile is similar, so I decided to flatten the round profile so they would fit. Okay, here's the one that I've hammered, a little bit flat. And it's definitely got a hook in there. So this will work. Here's the one that I've hammered, and here's the original one. And as you can see, the original one is too wide. My next step was to grind away the tip of the hook to make it easier to put on and take off the hardwires while the skis were still attached to my boots. So here's the final profile that I ended up with, and it took quite a bit of trial and error to figure out how much of the tip to grind away. So with these modifications, how easy is it to put it on and take it off without removing your ski? Well, it's pretty simple. As you can see, they're not going to pop off during use at all. But if you drop the lever, lower it down below your boot, raise your foot up, now these things will pop right off. I'm real happy with that. Now I also have another set of Voile cable bindings. This one is the 3-pin cable traverse. And the big difference between the standard 3-pin cable and the cable traverse is the riser on the front of the binding and the heel riser. Now, the hardwire binding that Voile sells actually has a higher heel riser. And what that allows you to do is allows you to keep these attached to the ski, and you can put it in this stowed position. You can have your boot attached, and you can ski quite freely. The traverse is not quite tall enough for that, but I think that would be just fine. Now, I don't see, there's no real movement here. So with my setup, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of heel contact between this and this. So I think that would work out just fine. Of course, the big advantage of the way I've set this up is if you want to remove it, you certainly can. This easily comes on and goes off. The heel riser actually helps you installing these. Of course, there is one downside, and that is if they're easy to go on and easy, that means they're also easy to come off. Now you can control that. You can control how much this hooks onto the front by how much you grind away, and they won't come off when they're in the position that's attached to your boot. But if they're lowered down below here, say you want to go in the stored position like this, then there's a chance they will pop off when you're skiing. If you think you're going to be skiing them like this, then you'll probably not want to grind off as much of the hook as I did. The other thing to consider is if you're the kind of person who transports your skis on top of your car, you want to remove these. You don't want these to come off of your ski when it's on top of your car and become a projectile for somebody else. Anyway, I'm real happy with my setup. These are going to be in my pack most of the time. I'm going to just be able to pull them out of the pack, pop them on the ski. When I need to use them, I'll be able to reach down and just easily take them off when I don't want them anymore. How sweet is that? There's the damage. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, do that. If you have any comments, leave them down below. And as always, be safe and be kind. And I'll see you in the next video.